nobody cares about me. Walk down the street like I'm not there. It's the way it's always been. One day I'll notice a change. One chance to play the big stage. The fear it starts to grow. I wanna hear my song on the radio. I see my idols on TV. I'm getting older and nobody's heard of me. Gotta work my way up. It's everything I could ever want. I wanna throw down the books and pick up pen and paper. I'm always getting funny looks. Some people say I'll never make it. I'll lie and stare at the roof. I know I've got something to prove. I wonder what it'd be like to live my dream in real life. The thought of it is so surreal. To be an unknown kid with a record deal. One of life's roller coasters I'm gonna stream. Singing my own songs, my only dream. Gotta work my way up, be whoever I like. If I only knew my future was so bright. Travel around the world and see.
We're back.
When did we leave? I've always been here.
Yeah, all right.
I was waiting backstage for like 2 weeks. No.
Well, good evening, Ina. It's a pleasure to see you again now that we're back with Talking with Demons. And good day to everybody else that's out there. And boss, what an absolute banging intro. Love it. Good evening to Luna, Simon. Who else have we seen there? I don't know who else we've seen there. Anyway, whoever's watching, welcome to Talking with Demons with myself and the gorgeous Grecian goddess. You can say it. Go on.
Ina.
There we
It's
go.
Ina.
We got the Prozac Ina tonight.
Ah.
How have you been anyway?
I'm good. I woke up pumped, psyched, excited for today's shows. And then some people killed my vibe. But then I got pumped again.
You're
yeah.
not pointing at me about that. I am the vibe killer for anything anyway, so it's fine. And
That's
I accept
true.
that. I
You
accept
suck the fun out of everything. That's true.
true fact. Because fun is just evil.
Aren't we all?
It is.
That's why we're here. Inner demon.
And I let my inner demon out quite a lot. And he shouts a lot as well, so we're fine. But other than that, yeah. In fact, you know what? For those that missed the show earlier, tell us what day it is. So I can poo-poo that.
Fine. I can bet you $10 you don't know what day it is.
Yeah, you're right.
No, I'm going to tell you. So today, guys, is Iced Tea Day. It's International Iced Tea Day. Iced tea.
Yeah, I'm going
Or
to
like this.
my judgment because the only tea that you should be drinking is hot with milk and sugar.
With a finger. You have to do this. Are you really drinking tea if you don't go like this?
You see, you only do the pinky if it's a small cup, a small china cup. But if you've got a mug... Anyway, we've got a great show for you fine ladies and gents out there in the video verse, if you want to call it that. I don't know what to call it.
YouTube verse?
Yeah, whatever it is. I don't know. But we've got an absolutely awesome band that yourself jacked up for today. Really looking forward to it. Listen to a couple of their tracks. And it's a little bit out of my normal listening regime because everybody knows I love a little bit of black and death metal. But I like a little bit of soft stuff too. And the band produces that. And it makes me a little bit warm and fuzzy, which is dangerous because I don't like being warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that.
Yeah. I like to keep that heart cold.
You're going to catch a cold from the ice inside your soul.
True fact. So shall we bring this wonderful band on? Really looking forward to this. So over to you, Ina.
Over to me.
Yeah.
So we got today Cam and Brendan from Altamadum.
Hey.
Round of applause, everybody. Round of applause.
Gentlemen.
Hey,
Hey,
guys.
hey, how are you guys doing?
Oh,
Yeah. Apart from
We're
the ice
excellent.
tea. Yeah.
Yeah. Heard about that bit, yeah.
The Ice-T incident.
Yeah.
No.
In fact,
So-
Brendan, we were speaking backstage. Just sorry, we were speaking backstage, and you said you like Ice-T, don't you?
Oh, I was mentioning I do like Ice-T myself, but I was mentioning our producer is just an Ice-T fanatic.
Yeah, it's a thing we do. It's like a band tradition. So every week when we go to the studio on Saturday, we all have energy drinks, but we have to buy Russ, our producer, a big thing of. But I think we're talking about two different things, Jace. Like we're talking about like brisk, not like iced tea, like just iced tea.
Yeah, I know what. So was it Lipton's iced tea, isn't it? I think one of the brands that you guys.
Yeah,
have.
That's right.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Peach or lemon?
I mean, it tastes crap.
Be nice.
It's an acquired taste.
Yeah. But anyway, other than the fact we're talking about iced tea, let's talk about you fine gents.
Yes. Introduce yourselves.
My name is Brendan. I play the drums for Altamadum.
My name is Cam Thomas, and I am the lead guitar player for Altamadum.
So how come the vocalist is not here with us tonight? Usually the vocalist is like the big persona behind the band. Like they are the band, because I'm a vocalist and I know. We are the band, so
it's not quite with us. We're a bit of a democracy. So actually we've been doing a lot of these, this like a big press run right now. So Brendan and I actually are typically or we have been anyway, since we dropped the 2 singles for the new album coming up in the fall. We've kind of been the voice and the face of the band, just because we love having these conversations, and and our singer is more kind of into the creative process of just kind of, playing the live shows and the writing and the recording in the studio. He gets a real kick out of that. So we kind of got the green light to go ahead and kind of be the voice and the face of the group.
So it's kind of like Phantom of the Opera then.
Very similar. Yeah. Just a lot shorter, a lot shorter. Yeah. Yeah. No, he's attended a bunch in the past, but right now it's kind of just easier with everybody's schedule if Brendan and I kind of take the brunt of the press and have these conversations, which we absolutely love anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
So you two started the band, right?
We did. Yes. Brendan and I met in grade 9 in high school in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada. And I heard from a lot of people that I had to meet this drummer, right? And yeah, that's the guy right there. And he played in a talent show in elementary school before coming to high school, and everyone was telling me how great he was, right? So he lives still out in the country, and it was a little bit harder for us to actually get together at that time because neither one of us drove, right? So we had to find ways to get there, carpool and everything else like that, right? To try to get to Brendan's house so we could actually jam. But yeah, it was he and I, and we kind of started this thing, and we had that initial spark right off the get-go. We had this kind of unspoken chemistry where we could just play for hours at a time, and we didn't even have to cover anything or play any songs. It was just a natural flow of energy in the room and just creativity that we just locked onto, and we've had ever since. And we have that, like, all 4 of us have that within the group, right? So
yeah, that's so interesting because
music.
I'm sorry, what?
What he's talking about when it comes to the chemistry, that's how we create the majority of our songs, just by feel. It's a great chemistry. Yeah.
Yeah, which is actually interesting because all 4 of you were there from the beginning, since like 2007. All of you, and Sam and James, all of you, and you're all the original members till now.
More or less, yeah, more or less. Actually, Sam joined us a few years after, but he's been with us ever since as well. And then it's like we have 6 members because we also have our producer and our web designer, and we've kept the same producer and web designer, to your point as well. So I know we're in a bit of a unique situation where we haven't really gone through a bunch of different lineup changes, but I think that what contributes to our chemistry and what makes our not only musical connection, but our bond so tight. We're like a family, right? So
I read somewhere that Sam said that he would join the band in one condition: if he actually played the guitar too.
It was funny. That was a condition we had. He joined as the singer initially, but that's the one lineup change we had. Our rhythm guitar player, we had to part ways. And then so before we did that, I asked Sam, because I knew he could play the guitar, can you fill this gap, right? Because I wanted to experiment with all these guitar, like Maiden style harmonies and stuff in our earlier days, which still, I mean, that's my go-to, right? When I'm noodling around that and bluesy style, like I have a pretty eclectic taste in music. But yeah, and then so I said, can you play this riff? And I showed him the riff on the low end, and then I did the harmony section, and there was that fusion, and I'm like, okay, we're good. Our decision's made, right? So we can move forward, the four of us, and with our producer and web designer, and that's what we did. So since we were 19, we've been the 4-piece that we are now. So
you mentioned Iron Maiden there, which is a piece of my heart straight away. That little bit of blackness there has got a little bit of red just for Iron Maiden, because they are the best band in the world, in my humble opinion, one of the best. What are your actual main influences? I mean, I've listened to your music and I can hear quite a bit in there, but outside of your music, what's your go-to music that kind of almost inspires you to go, you know what, I want to create something similar but not the same as that?
Brendan, you want to take that one?
Yeah, in the beginning, when I first started playing, like my dad's style of music was a huge influence on my life. So that was AC/DC, that was Kiss, that was Motley Crue, almost every band from that era of time. And from then on, it just I didn't try to emulate that style of music, but it's what got me into playing my instrument at the time. And since then, obviously, I've heard tons of different genres of music, and it's like, oh, that would be neat to try. Oh, that would be neat to try, from all those different influences. And all of it mashed together has just created the sound of today in Altamadum.
Yeah, for me, it's we have very different influences, all four of us. I think that's what makes it so unique, Jace, the sound of all these different influences. Lately, what inspired me initially was Led Zeppelin. I think the best music, you're going to love this, I think the best music comes from England, in my personal opinion, right?
And heavy metal was started in Birmingham, in the United Kingdom, by none other than Black Sabbath.
Agreed. Yeah, no debate whatsoever. Lately it's changed though for me. I've been listening, and I still love, my heart's still with, heavier music. That's kind of what got me into music to begin with. But lately it's been a lot of the Smiths, Joy Division, some of those English alternative. I know you might not be as into that, but we pull from a lot. I listen to blues, I listen to jazz, I listen to dancier, EDM style music. I listen to alternative. I know. But you can, the thing that's what makes us so unique though, right? Is that we don't listen to one specific genre, right?
Yeah.
Very eclectic, right? And then we put it through our own melting pot, and it turns into Altamadum, right? So it's something, our goal when writing music is to create something that's never been heard before and bring something to the musical landscape, not just profit off of it or do something that we love that's been done. We want to bring something to the table, right? We want to create something new and exciting for everyone to hear and share that with the world, right? So
I mean, that's pretty inspiring. I mean, you hear bands that you can hear a lot of one or two particular influences within your music. Like I said, you can hear that mix of a little bit here, a little bit there, a bit, every now and then you might hear a little bit of Joy Division, a little bit of Soundgarden or something. It's just little trinkets here and there, but that makes your music beautiful, in my humble opinion.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, but should we introduce your music to our viewers?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's go with Run From You.
Nice. Awesome.
Hit it, boss.
Where Forever May Fall, and you're watching Inner Demon Media.
Well,
You
Right.
changed.
yeah, we've changed round now. However, gentlemen, that track, believe it or not, I mean, I am a little bit tired, but we'll let that slide. However, that generally actually made me move about in my seat a little bit and dance because. So when I listen to that track, I think it's about third or fourth time I've listened to it now. There's some weird elements in there. So first off, you've got that intro riff from the guitar. You're like, oh, that grabs you straight by the short and curly straight away. You're like, oh yeah, okay, digging this. Then the drums kick in, and it almost sounds a little bit like the Rocky theme tune.
Nice. That's
Nice.
awesome.
If
Yeah.
you listen to it, you can hear it. You can hear it a little bit. Then you get the synth coming in, and then it almost. So you can imagine that tune being in a film, in an 80s film, almost. It's got that vibe about it. You're like, you know, I can imagine, you know, someone in a car driving really, really fast to go and see his loved one. That's what I got from that track. So, you know, well done, gents.
Oh, amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think
It actually,
I think you actually said that about that song when we first put it together too. It's like, oh, I want to drive a fast car when I hear this. I'm pretty sure
It
Cam
actually
said that
reminded
too.
me-
It's funny.
it reminded me of like "What Is Love" by Hathaway from A Night at the Roxbury. I don't know. It kind of did. It kind of did.
Yeah,
That's
it's
badass.
That's
great
a
song.
first. We have not heard that one yet.
Yeah.
It's
Yes. Original
Point to
Cohen.
Lena.
Yeah, that's what I strive for.
It's got to be Rocky 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got another drummer with us tonight, Simon Richards, absolute legend. Loves getting his nuts out, his balls.
There you go.
Apparently all drummers
Exposed.
apparently drummers get all kind of freaky.
Yes.
Brendan,
We got proof right here. Look at that guy.
No, to be continued.
but I mean the track. So you know, what was the inspiration for the track itself? You know what I mean?
The inspiration actually is pretty similar throughout the album because that was the first single that we dropped from the upcoming album In My Blood in fall. So on our last album, we wrote a few different songs where we incorporated some electronic elements with like some heavier, you know, elements in the back where we have the drums, right, sounding very kind of just big. And then, you know, the Maiden, you hear a little bit of that influence in that intro a little bit where there's the guitar harmony piece, right? And that was the idea, was we wanted to create a very up tempo, and to your point, Jace, like the dancing thing, right? Like that was the goal. We wanted to write an album that physically moved people, right? Because we just did a very kind of atmospheric album that incorporated a lot of different kind of more ballady elements, but it was still very different. So I wanted to do the complete opposite of that and do something that was a little bit more in your face, super, super different with the electronic elements, with the kind of the spider webby guitar riffs over top with the harmonies and the drums with the double bass, and then Sam's kind of poppy vocal on top. And the idea was to be just creating these earworms, these really, really hooky choruses. The choruses on the album, all of the choruses are designed to be incredibly catchy. So it's kind of like a hum along, kind of a little bit repetitive to some degree.
And I like it because, I mean, I'm used to running around in circles and just, well, not so much anymore. My body's a little bit broken, beaten and scarred. But normally I'd quite happily run around in circles and just throw my body everywhere. However, that actually made me almost dance like I was in the Roxbury.
That's awesome.
I don't do that kind of stuff. So well done, gentlemen. Well fucking done.
Thank you so much.
Good.
So who writes the songs, the lyrics, the music?
It's interesting. This one was different because we were, you know, in the middle of a pandemic too. We wrote 2 albums actually during that time, and this one actually came. It was Brendan and I primarily build the song. So Sam has the ability to record at home, so he sends us these little ideas, and they might just be a little electronic idea and a vocal over top. And then Brendan and I get to our studio here in Thunder Bay called Thunder Sound Studio with our producer, and we build the song. So we start layering it with drums, guitar tracks, bass. We basically form the instrumentation of the song from this idea that Sam brings us. And then, for this album anyways, it's always changed. Like our writing process always changes, right? Where initially I was like the primary music writer, but Brendan as well. Like he and I collaborate really well, and we have the ability to do that, right? Like track by track by track with all the instruments in the studio. So, and then typically Sam, our singer, and then James Cole, our bass player, they kind of share lyric writing responsibilities. So the 2 of us are more kind of assigned to the music, like we compose the music, and then Sam lately on this album, this one was primarily Sam in terms of vocal content. He builds from that as well. But since he sent us these ideas, he typically kind of had the skeletal structure, like in terms of like this electronic sound and this vocal over top, which inspired us. And then we build it up and then send it back to Sam, and that inspires him. And then it's kind of like a little bit of a back and forth process, right? Where we start to build, and it's a 10-track album, and all 10 tracks on this album are very much, like I said, designed to be very, very dancey and different. Like we want it to be really, really different on this one. So
when you perform live, do you have like backup tracks, like electronic sounds?
No, we don't, but we might have to on this one. Only all of those electronic parts, by the way, Sam's playing on his piano. So they're not, so they're not like everything that you hear is us being musicians and artists, and not sampling anything or whatever, or taking anything from anywhere else. Like those are all instruments that are being played, and we're going to have to figure that out, because typically we're a band that doesn't use any kind of backup. We're just authentic, grassroots, kind of like we just try to put on the best show we possibly can, right? As us, as the 4 individuals, and we try to cover as much ground musically as we can on the stage. But with this one, it might be tricky, just because I've put so many guitar tracks down, and Sam's either going to have to play the guitar or the piano, or we're going to have to use those backup tracks, right? So,
well, what I would like to see is you guys in a gig after a hard rock band, so everyone's there jumping up and down, enjoying it, and all of a sudden the music changes to your new album music, like Run Far From You, and then everybody all of a sudden's like, I've got to dance now. What the hell? So that'll be a quite interesting dynamic going, and then
like I said, if a mosh pit, everybody will just be dancing.
It'll be very confusing. Yeah,
I'll be like, oh, okay, we started a new trend here. I'm sure this is what's going on.
Yeah, dance mosh. Yeah.
Well, see, I've just started a new trend.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
So, Ina is always the trendsetter.
I am.
Nice.
Without a doubt.
She's the trendsetter, without a doubt. And she keeps rubbing it in everybody's faces. Look at me, I'm the trendsetter. Now, what is it? 2-3 at the minute? We're having a score off at the minute. I'm losing, obviously.
Out of those that you remember, there are a lot of things you don't know or you don't remember that I've done. But
yeah, I've had a lot
whatever.
of since then.
Yep. So you've never performed live this specific song?
Yeah, this album and the last album, actually, we hadn't had a chance to perform it live because our restrictions in Northwestern Ontario were pretty severe. They'd actually just loosened not that long ago. So we do have a few offers to play shows, and we're gonna look at them, but it has to make sense for us at this time right now. And typically the writing process, we have everything mic'd up, as I'm sure you both are familiar with, how you have that no, okay. You have this.
I'm not a musician. I'm just
okay.
I'm just
so
a
unprofessional.
DJ. She's the professional. I'm just a DJ. I appreciate music and how hard it is to create. So I have no idea. I'm just a roadie for all intents and purposes.
All good. So what we do then typically, this is our pattern, is we go into hibernation for the duration of the album. So we have everything mic'd up the way it needs, especially Brendan's drums. We have everything mic'd up the way it is. And we kind of have to keep that continuity throughout the album. We kind of have to put ourselves away and isolate and get the production right. Not even the production, because that's kind of an afterthought. It's getting the tracks right. And then once we can all of us sign off on those tracks and we're good to go, then we can start playing shows. And the album doesn't even have to be done, but we have to be so sure with the tracks that we create. Because if we come back in the studio, try to re-mic it, it might not, you might hear that subtle change. And we're a big proponent of creating that continuity in albums. We want it to be a story to some degree, right? We want the listener to sit down and listen to it from start to finish, because we're a bigger fan of writing good albums in our minds versus just great songs, right? We want to write that. Obviously you need great songs to be a good album, but we want to have that flow for the listener to experience it from start to finish. So
yeah. So what's the story behind the album? What's the story you want to tell the people? What's the lyrics about?
The lyrics? Brendan, you want to take this?
I wish Sam was here to explain it, actually.
You could explain it. I could.
A lot of lyrics. It's geez, does it relate? But Cam
what
has
do
a
you
better
think it's about?
Buddy. Cam, you should take this one.
You want me to take it? Okay.
Yeah,
So this album is actually all about kind of relationships. relationships, both good and bad. So some of the dysfunctional elements of relationships, like run from you, is kind of that. If you listen to the lyrics, it's kind of like it's getting away from somebody physically. But like the next track, for example, it's a little bit different, where it's a little bit dark, hopeless, romantic style lyrics, but super dark, like in terms of that, because I love that element, like the darker elements in songwriting. And then it switches again, where some of the songs are a little bit more aggressive, because the person who's supposed to like Sam, but the character that he's created is almost angry at times, right? Angry at somebody or something, or so the album is basically like a very kind of almost like a roller coaster of all the different things that you would experience in a relationship. Not even just in terms of like a partner, but any relationship, right? Like people become very codependent on some relationships, and others, don't, and others feel the need to be an independent person, and all these things, right? I'm doing a horrible job at explaining this, by the way.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I get you.
Yeah, but we love like Sam is a very dark lyricist. Like he writes from personal experience, but he writes very dark lyrics sometimes. Like if you read them on a piece of paper, it's like, holy crap, like it's very, very dark, but you put it with maybe this haunting ballad, and it becomes this like weird kind of feeling that you experience when you mix the music with those kind of lyrics, or it'll be super dark lyrics and the music will be more uplifting, and you have that weird kind of juxtaposition where it's like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel, but it sounds really cool and different, right?
It's like sometimes when Sam brings really dark lyrics to the table, it's like with a happy song. So it's like just the mixture brings about a lot of it could bring about a lot of emotions for the audience who's listening.
See, Run From You, I got the complete opposite of that song. I thought, I'm in a car driving to my loved one.
You can do that too. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah. That's how I read it anyway. I was enjoying it because it was, like you said, it was the lyrics are dark, but yet it's such a happy tune. It's one of those ones that you've got to move your body to. So I was like, I'm doing about 120 miles an hour down the road now.
Yeah, before you know it. Whoa, I guess I'm flying here today.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things, though. Sam writes so open-ended in terms of like it's very emotionally driven, but it can be anything to anybody, right? So it's very relatable, and we don't want to take that away, right? So if the listener hears something or interprets the song a certain way, that's special, right? And we want to honor that. So that's why we don't talk a lot about the meaning behind the songs lyrically, because we want that listener to have that experience of making it their own, right?
I mean, it's great. I was going to say something I completely forgot now.
Sorry, I probably cut you off there.
No. It was
until you do, I'm going to say this. The thing I always say, that music is supposed to make you feel something. It's not for you to understand it. It's for you to feel something, to make you think. What does a musician want to say? What is it, Jace? Say it. Remember it.
You mentioned Sam's a dark lyricist. Have you thought about doing metalcore or death metal or black and death metal, mixing it up a little bit? Now, you, Brendan, as a drummer, you would love smashing that double bass and just being absolutely brutal. So it would fit your style.
Yeah, like there's been not talk of like switching like a huge drastic change to a different genre or nothing, but like Cam was saying, we all listen to such diverse different styles of music that those influences naturally fall into place. Like we had one album from 2014, and that was our second album called Levels. And Cam's inspiration for that album was a lot of it was from metalcore music, but it wasn't metalcore itself. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of our influences just meld together and create what Ultimatum is today. It's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things that I've noticed is, now that, COVID's kind of been forgotten about, even during the COVID pandemic, there have been a lot of bands, and especially in Canada. Canada has been pumping out loads of new bands, up and coming artists, bands that should be bigger like yourselves, but just haven't hit that high mark yet. You know what I mean? They just haven't had that acceptance, so to speak. But I mean, Canada right now is just smashing out the bands, and there's so many. I mean, I could list loads, but my mind's gone. So, that's got to be a good feeling for you guys. I mean, how are you, what's your aim moving forward, apart from, everyone to listen to your music, which I'm sold anyway, because that song's just stuck in my head now. It's that earworm.
I think our aim as a group is to just remain as creative as possible, like don't get stuck in a rut, because you'll fade away. It's like if you don't keep learning and keep getting better at your instrument, the creativity will soon die, and pretty soon you get stuck in a rut, and a whole band could disband based on that, because you almost finished learning, and that's no good. You got to keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward as a musician, as a group.
I mean, you mentioned, keep changing, moving forward. I mean, there's a lot of old bands at the minute that, have come back to the surface. You've got the bands like Scorpions have just released a new album, Saxon and so forth. Yeah. But then you get the bands that are stuck in the rut, living off the high life, like Motley Crue. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Motley Crue. But then you get other bands like Kiss who haven't released an album since I was born, like XXX amount of years ago. So change is always good, and keeping up with, I guess you could say, trends.
Yeah, I think it's to Brendan's point. Yeah, like we don't change. Like we do have a signature sound that we've been told we have throughout. So even if we incorporate different influences, we still have that signature sound that's kind of interwoven into what we do. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Jace. Like I think that as an artist, I think it's really, really important to be true to the art and to write something that the four of us are passionate about. Because if we're passionate about it, there's a market for it out there. So our goal, I think, is to continue to push the envelope creatively, continue to try new styles with no limitations, right? Like we're very open-minded when it comes to the studio. And then we have a record label in the States, actually. They're called From the Depths Entertainment from Reading, Pennsylvania. And we have them help us share the music globally. But, since the whole pandemic, we've been able to have so many different conversations like with yourselves, right? And we're so grateful to do that, because our main objective is to share our music with the world. Right. And we're doing that right now. Right. Like we're connecting with your audience, and your audience is connecting with us, and it works for both parties. Right. So that's our biggest goal, is to continue to just push the envelope creatively, personally, and then also share that with as many people as possible, for no other reason than I just absolutely, music is such a personal thing. Right. And it's like we're sharing a little piece of ourselves with the globe. Right. And to get feedback from like England or wherever. Right. It's like, or Greece, or, it's so amazing to get that, because, good or bad, because it's like someone else is now connecting with us right now through music in the world. And that is such a beautiful thing. And it transcends any language. Right. So that's our goal. Just push it, push the envelope, and share. And that's it. Right. So
now I think it's a perfect time for our next track, Who I Have Become. And enjoy, guys.
Awesome.
Evening, everyone. It's Ian from King Voodoo, and you're watching Talking with Demons. Be more voodoo.
Hey everyone, I'm Simon from Kids Drive, and you're watching Talking with Demons.
That's the drummer from Kinstrife who loves getting his balls out.
Well, that's the guy I see.
Yeah, absolute legend of a man, absolute legend.
That
I mean,
was
I'm a little bit downhearted now. I mean, that song kind of depressed me. I'm like, oh,
yeah, it's a very sad song, but in a wonderful way because it's hopefully leaves a door open for the other person. Says when you've had enough, just come back home. It's really beautiful.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that song was written a few years ago. That was 2017, I think, and that was kind of that more of the dark, haunting kind of style sound mixed with that imagery, right? Where the lyrics kind of tell a story, right? It's just like a very, like you mentioned, a very hopeless story, but at the same time, the music kind of provides some sort of hope, right? And there's like some sort of hope at the end, like it finishes kind of hopeful, right? So yeah, that one always had a special place in my heart because it's just very different. Like Sam's voice sounds very like nothing else that I've heard before.
Yeah,
right? I get a lot.
it's unique.
very distinctive.
It is, and I think that showcases it too, just being kind of an acoustic, softer song.
Apparently, the drummer from Kinstrife is a bellend. I probably agree.
No, I actually love the song. It reminds me again driving, but driving like after dark, maybe even before dawn.
With rain.
Driving. What? I'm sorry.
With rain.
With rain. Yeah, like a road trip. Like I don't know, reflecting. I don't know. I like it. It was really beautiful, guys. Really, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah, it made me depressed. I'm not happy now.
Yeah, you needed a push.
Yeah, we'll bring you back up on the next one, Jace. I promise.
Good.
I promise.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was smart. Whoever planned this did it well. So nice. Very good. Very good. Yeah.
Not to brag or anything, but
Nice.
Jace, behave. You promised you would behave, Jace.
I'm trying to be nice and I'm trying to be good.
Trying keyword.
Normally stuff gets crazy, but you know, it's the first time back in 2 weeks, so we got to bring people in before they understand us again and forget why they turn off in the first place.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about this song. About not the story actually, because we kind of get it, but how you got to write the song. I bet Sam brought it to you.
Yeah, the idea came from I think I was inside of the studio because we're all very kind of inspired by each other. And Sam and I, when we get together, we kind of create something that neither one of us would create on our own. So we have that kind of weird songwriting style, which is really special. And I remember that one kind of coming out of just a simple chord progression that really didn't, I got to be honest, it didn't strike me initially. It was just kind of like something I felt like we did before. And then, but I heard the vocal melody he was trying to figure out, right? And I thought that's really, really cool. Okay, I like that. I like the chords paired with that melody. So it was funny because we were at the studio and he had this really, really nice acoustic guitar. So he put his track down and literally gave me the acoustic guitar. I grabbed it after him, put the leads on top. And then I'm like, okay, now I love this song because I love like the two guitars together. It sounded very haunting. And then I didn't really know what the vocals were going to turn into. I just knew the melody was very, it almost added another, another melody to it or whatever. And then Brendan went down behind the kit and started playing this kind of like shuffly kind of pattern or whatever. I'm like, that is not what I expected him to do, but I love it. And it really started to grow on me. So it was just, that's kind of how it evolved. I remember that night actually very distinctly in the studio. I remember us all being together and I remember creating that and being very excited when we left the studio. Like that album hadn't been released yet. And it was just a very exciting time in the studio where all of us were kind of, feeding off of that energy and being inspired by one another. So
but before we continue, I've just got to say, because we've got one of our lovely individuals on YouTube at the minute called Naked Dan, and he's a lovely individual. And yes, Dan, I will give you a naked hug. Now, me and Dan, we're going to be doing a Star Wars midget porn. He's going to be Chewbacca.
Oh,
And, you know, if you guys want to join in, you know,
Told you about porn. You wouldn't believe me, but
yeah. Brendan will. I will volunteer Brendan for that.
Yeah, I'll come in as Luke Skywalker.
No, we've got a midget for that. We've got midgets for that. We've got the Ewoks, we've got the midget, we've got a midget Leia. We just need a Chewbacca and a big Darth Vader. And
Cam can be Chewbacca.
I think you got that down. I didn't know you had that ability.
Yeah. It just kind of happens, you know.
And just before anyone says anything, I am not the princess. Because the boss just put it down in the comments. Anyway, sorry, gents. We had to go off piste a little bit because I like doing that every now and then. Just brings a little human element to it. And, you know, the music that you create really does have that human element. And like you said, your latest album really is focused on the love lost, the love gained, and the emotions, blah, 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 blah. A lot of things that I don't generally feel in life because I just hate everything and everybody because it's easier to do that.
There's a lot of that on the album too, though. There's a lot of
hatred.
Yeah.
On that specific album, yeah. There's some gruesome songs on there, man. In a good way.
Well, I have a question for you because once we play our last video tonight, we won't come back. That will be it. We will close tonight's interview with that. So we should talk about the last track right now before we play it. So my question is, why would you name your album In My Blood and then have a track In My Blood?
Yeah. Well, so there's a few reasons. The artwork, we had a local artist named Bianca who actually created the artwork. And it was like it's the artwork actually for In My Blood, the single. So it's like a skull with the flowers and kind of the A behind it or whatever. And there was the song idea. Actually, the song came before the album title. We didn't have an album title. We had a track called In My Blood, and I loved the idea. I loved the idea of what I could bring to that too. Like it's got a lot of really cool guitar parts. And as soon as I heard it, I'm like, this is the quintessential single. Like it has that radio rock, and it wasn't by design. It just kind of came by chance or whatever. And then, you know, Brendan putting his drums on and James putting his bass on. And I'm like, you know, we're looking for an album title and what sounds, you know, it just sounded really cool, right? It sounded like In My Blood. It's, you know, and it kind of, you know, music's in our blood, right? And we've been doing this. We're like a family, right? Even though we're not blood, we might as well be, right? Because we've been together for so long. So it's got a lot of different meanings to me personally. I know it's probably different for Brendan. It's probably different for James and Sam and Russ and Rich. And but I know that for us, there's a lot of different meanings and and even just doing the press stuff, right? Like people can do really cool things with that artwork and that title and everything like that. So I heard the single and I think I shopped it around. I said, do you guys want to just call it In My Blood? And everyone was like, yeah, that sounds awesome, right? And it works with the artwork that was already done because we had artwork with no title, just Altamadum, the artwork, and that was it. Like this, it just fits. It just fits. I can't think of anything else to call this album based on that artwork and the music. I think it just, you know, it marries together so well. I don't know, Brendan, if you have a different answer than I do, but
no, I agree totally. Like Cam, I'm just gonna, you know, pretty much say what Cam said. It just marries so well together. There's no other way to describe it, really.
Okay, well, I actually just realized that I never asked why Ultimatum.
So we all have different. So I'll tell you my version. Brendan can tell you his version because I think we have two different stories. I remember being in school with Brendan, and I remember being in grade 9 in science class or something, and we weren't paying attention whatsoever, right? We were making a list of names because for whatever reason, I think aside from finding a singer, the hardest part of creating a band is finding a name, because like a name kind of represents who you are, right? And it's like, how do you sum that up in a word or a couple of words or whatever? So we had a list of names, and we also wanted to be very original. So I think Brendan, like the way I remember it is Brendan wrote Ultimatum down in the standard way that you would write it. And I took an eraser to it and I started erasing letters and changing the letters to make it look cool, right? Look more metal at the time because, you know, that was just the thing, right? It just looked awesome. And then thinking about it is that, you know, if you do a Google search for Ultimatum the way that we spell it, you're only going to find our content. You're not going to find anything else, right? and I knew Ultimatum had to be taken, like the way you would normally spell it. So, and none of the other names were sticking out. And I didn't love Ultimatum right off the hop. I got to be totally honest with you as well. It just, but the way that we spelt it, it looked like a logo or something. Like it was original. It had, you know, and also too, we sounded nothing like the music scene at the time in Thunder Bay. We were the complete antithesis of what was going on. So we were giving people the ultimatum, right? Either you can do whatever everyone else is doing, whatever's popular at the scene, but we're going to bring something new and different and exciting to us. And we're going to see if it floats or sinks, right? But at the end of the day, we believed in what we did enough. It didn't matter. Like we were going to make it float. Even if we had to get under it, all four of us had to get under it and hold it up. We were going to make it float because we believed in each other and we believed in the music. So it has a few different meanings, but I like the aesthetic look of it as well on a shirt or a poster or an album cover. So Brendan, you have a different story, I think.
Yeah, like even before Ultimatum, was our brand, you know, if you go back in time a little bit, even before Ultimatum was there, we were called Annex for the longest time. It's when Cam and I were just like a two-piece duo jamming all the time. And we actually had one of our friends from high school at the time, Nick Kushner, draw us out what Annex would look like on a piece of paper. And it was sick. And for the heavier style we were playing at the time, it actually fit the bill. But as time progressed and went on, Annex didn't fit our sound anymore. So like fast forward like a month or two, and then here we are in Cam's basement writing down all these names, and Ultimatum gets put there, and he switched the letters up a little bit, and we just ran with it. And everybody liked it. So it's like, hey, this is a good thing. Let's just run with this and see what happens.
But I bet if you sat every one of us down in a room, we'd all have a different story on how it came to be. Yeah. So the others might be mad when they see this and say, that's not how it happened. But
it's going back to 07 too. So it's like, wow, we got to really dig on this one. You know?
No, but like you said, it's very original. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Yeah, like Ina was about to say, it is completely original, which is great. But I was going to delve into the fact that you've all got different stories about how it come together. Now, it's probably a story for a different time, but have you got any crazy gigs that you've been to that have just gone absolutely wild? You know, your drummer's got absolutely wasted, stuck his balls on his drum kit or something like that.
We have
I haven't teabagged nobody, but I did throw a drumstick.
You threw a drumstick. Tell them, give them that one story, Brendan. And because
it was just like a spur of the moment thing. Like we had played our last song, and like I was just hyped right out. Adrenaline was going. Didn't think it through, and I happened to throw a drumstick out into the audience, and lo and behold, the only person in that audience who turns around happens to be my lead singer's girlfriend. And it smacks her in the back of it ricochets off the ceiling and smacks her in the back of the head. I was like, wow. Really? Really?
One in a million shot.
Our friendship was gone. It was gone. I was like, yeah, how do you say sorry for something like that?
It was a tense moment.
Like, oh, for fuck's sake.
At least it was someone you knew, so.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the final track, are you planning to tour the UK anytime, or Europe, or the States? Because I've got to offer, because everybody knows that anyone that comes from Talking with Demons, if you're coming over to the UK, you get to sleep in my garage just behind me. I've got a pub 200 meters down the road. We can go and get wasted. The offer's there, gents.
That sounds amazing, but no, we
but no,
but no.
No. And we'll
smart move.
Keep that in mind, Jace. Definitely. That's actually a pull for us to do this, just so you know. So
we'll start building our boat right now so we can float over there.
Yeah, exactly. No, we've done tours in the past, and it's good. It's good. We'll do it when it makes sense to do it, kind of thing. Like, and it does. Like the one awesome part about releasing music the way we're doing it is we're gaining a lot of traction in the UK, in England, and Scotland specifically, right? Like we're gaining a lot of traction over there in terms of airplay, magazines, all of this stuff. And it's amazing. For whatever reason, people in the UK seem to get it. Like they seem to get what we're doing right now, and we're incredibly grateful for that. So I've like I said, I've been to London for a couple of weeks, and I would love to go there with the band. But it's nice just even being able to connect with your audience, right? Like, you know, your followers in England as well, right? It's almost like we're doing a mini tour every time we do a press run, or we do, you know, our songs on the radio or whatever, without us physically being there. But we started as a live band. Like, don't get me wrong, we love playing live. That was our bread and butter when we didn't have a studio, or we didn't have a label, or we didn't have anything really, right? So but it made for a very, like, we were hungry musicians, right? So it made for a very like intense show in the early days, and we were very young and a little bit too cocky, I think. And
but that took us places. That cockiness got us known and took us places too. So it was a benefit at the same time.
Yeah. So I would say yes. I would love to, Jace. Like, I would absolutely love to tour the UK. I think that would be awesome, especially since like most of my favorite music comes from England specifically. So it's like that would be sick. That would be a huge dream for sure.
Cam will just end up living there. We'll have to come back with no lead guitarist. Be like, now what? He won't leave.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine. I mean, I've got a great garage, and you know, I can feed you.
I'll move in.
Stop luring them in.
I'll move in, Jace. Yeah, sold.
Now,
sold.
You may end up finding me spooning you later.
Okay, I got to read the fine print, I guess. Eh? Yeah.
It's not a sex dungeon; it's just a sex room.
Okay. Oh well, there you go. That makes it better, I guess.
Not a dungeon.
Dan's got a great question. Now, we always ask before we go out the one most important question of all. Doesn't matter what you've had interviewed wise before and you've been asked before. There's only one important question, gents. What is your favorite flavor crayon?
My favorite
Crayola? Is it like, are you looking for a brand?
Like crayons, actual crayons?
Yeah. What's your favorite flavor crayon?
Yeah, because you eat it supposedly. So
if I absolutely had to eat a crayon, it'd probably be the green one.
The green one.
It's like a Granny Smith apple. Why not?
There you go. There you go. Yeah,
that's the only thing I can like refer it to is like a green apple. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'd probably do blue just because I like blue. That's a boring answer.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, anything you want to shamelessly plug before we go tonight?
Sure.
Anything?
Yeah, our Instagram is the best way to get a hold of us. So just Altamadum, Altamadum. I'm sure it's, you know, it's plugged in the heading and everything else like that. But it's the best way to get a hold of us. We have a website, altamadum.com, that's going through some revisions right now. Our web designer's actually working on it as we speak, and he's doing a really good job. So if you want to check that out for more content, there's altamadum.com. But like I said, the best way, probably the most updated platform we use is Instagram, where you can, you know, get a hold of us, you know, ask us questions, all of that kind of stuff. And then we have not all of our music, but a big chunk of our music on all platforms. So Spotify, Apple, basically anywhere you listen to music. Anywhere you listen to music, you can find us. And our new album, In My Blood, will be coming out this fall. So the 2 tracks, Run From You and the one we're about to hear, In My Blood, they'll be coming out in a 10-track album called In My Blood, with the same artwork, the skull. And that's going to be coming out in fall. We don't have an official date, but we're going to release one more single before we drop the album, and that should be coming out probably within the month, I would think. So
Any upcoming gigs?
Not right now. We've had, like I said, we've had a bunch of offers locally, but yeah, we're at that, like I said, we're at that stage where the album is still not 100% finished, to be entirely honest. There's track 9 and track 10 we just have to do a little bit with. So as soon as that's kind of done, then we'll probably seriously look at, you know, entertaining the thought of playing a show again, right? So we'd like to do a large scale show on the, like, as kind of our welcome back show. So because the last show we played here was like Canada Day at the Marina, so on Lake Superior, which is heavily attended. Like that's a big event that we have here in Thunder Bay. So we want to do something probably similar to that scale, where we come back kind of with this whole new catalog and kind of make an entrance again, or re-entrance into the whole scene here. So
you should also do like an acoustic set or an unplugged album. It would sound amazing with your lyrics and music. It would sound perfect.
That's a great call. We're thinking about doing something similar to that, even reviving some of our older songs and like changing them up a little bit and releasing them on like Spotify, like songs that haven't been released. They've only just been in hard copy. we're thinking about that. We're entertaining that. And I love that idea. I'm a huge fan of the whole MTV Unplugged thing that that was happening in the early 90s. And that would be really cool just to kind of work our songs into that kind of arrangement.
Excellent. Well, before we sign off, before I share my final words, I like to shamelessly plug something too.
Sure.
So thank you all tonight for tuning in. This was Altamadum, Brendan and Cam. Thank you guys so much for being here with us tonight. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, because tomorrow at 1 p.m. EST, 6 p.m. BST, it's the House of Pain. Say it, say it. He can say it. No? You won't? You won't say it? You don't have to say anything. Anyway, yeah, it's House of Pain tomorrow, 1 p.m. EST. And then later, 5 p.m. EST, it's the brand new show with Sid Ryder and Bob Bones. What the hell? It's a great show. Tune in. It's the first show. It's going to be hilarious. And after that, Sunday, we got the Delinquents Ball with Sid Ryder and myself, 4 p.m. EST. And then at 8 p.m. EST, Everyday Magic with Sid, Fairlight, and Heather. And that's all. I closed all shows on the weekend. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. We're going to sign off with In My Blood. Excellent track. I've heard before. That's why I say it. And what else? Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, our viewers.
Everyone.
Yeah,
You guys stay here when the song plays. You'll stay in the studio.
Yeah, stay
Okay.
backstage.
Yeah.
Will do.
And that's all, folks. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having
In My
us.
Blood.
Hey, this is Jeff from Westlake, and you're watching Talking with Demons.
It isn't in my blood. I'm never gonna break down, never gonna give it up, and I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough of it. It isn't in my blood. I'm never gonna break down, never gonna give it up, and I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough of it. There's a black rose pretty on the windowsill.
once on a little dare, but now she's missing class and she's dropping her pom-poms. Nobody knows where she is, not even her mom. Everybody thought she was the all-American girl. So there goes the books, it's all about the score. There goes the doggy, life is such a bore. There goes the family, she's got a new friend. There goes the looks, this is the end. I guess she really was the all-American girl.
Pick up heroin and you'll throw away everything you love. Share your stories on Instagram with #heroin.